When you're in combat, you become good in your job or dead in your job. You pay attention, you listen to your NCOs and your squad leaders, and you do what you're told to do. When you go in the attack, you don't take no prisoners. You don't have time to take prisoners. You're killing everything in the front of you, or vice versa. You don't have time to take prisoners because you're moving. You have an objective to take, and that is your main goal, nothing else, to take that objective. James Thompson, 24th Infantry Regiment, Buffalo Soldiers, 25th Division. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. During that time, school, with running the streets, and got in a little trouble, and I had to go into the military. In 1947, was in a problem. The judge said one thing, and my mother says he's going in the Army. Now, I never heard of the Army, but so that's when I went into the military in 1948. And they took us by train up to Grand Central Station. We took the train to Trenton, New Jersey, I guess. And we got off and got on buses that took us to a place called Fort Dix, New Jersey. And we was all talking, we was all together on the train, the white guys and us, we didn't know nothing about this segregation stuff. We arrived at Fort Dix, and it was so slick the way they did this. We'd start getting off the buses, and there was white guys in the back of me, in the front of me, and we was laughing and joking, and all of a sudden we stepped off the bus and the guy was pointing, and when I stepped it, he pointed that way and he pointed that way. Didn't think nothing of it. Went into this big consolidated mess hall, I guess about 11 o'clock at night. And I never in my life seen so many colored people in my life. And I'm looking around, I'm trying to figure out, where the guys at? Well, that started my segregation. Didn't know about it, but I learned about it fast at Fort Dix, because everything at Fort Dix and all our troops was colored. Now, you got to remember what time of year it was. It was early, and that's what they called us. They called us colored troops at that time. And that's where I took my basic at Fort Dix, New Jersey.
So your basic training was completely segregated?
Completely segregated. Everything in 3rd Battalion, 365 was colored. Our company commander, our officers, NCOs, everything was colored.
Tell me about basic. How was it for you? What did you like? What did you dislike?
I didn't dislike nothing. Everything was great. I mean, you was learning, you was teaching, and you had NCOs there. My sergeant, if I'm not mistaken, he was in World War II, and we listened to everything he said. And you stayed on the good side of the sergeant. If not, he put you in a KP and stuff. And fire watch, they called it. They didn't have heaters in the barracks, so you had cold. You stay up at night, make sure the fighters don't go out and keep the barracks warm, So, listen, you learned and you paid attention. In the classes, you fall asleep and they come along with a stick and hit you on the helmet to wake you up, So I enjoyed basic training myself. We finished basic training in April 1948, at which time they gave us a leave, 30 days. We went home, come back, and we had to report back to Camp Kilman, New Jersey. At which time, at Camp Kilman, New Jersey, they got orders sending us to Europe. We landed in Bremerhaven in June of '48. And this is where you find the Army there was really, really segregated, But when you got off the boat, and it was processing. It was white sergeants there, NCOs lining us up, okay? And this is the first time you've seen a white guy in a while, you know. So when we hit Bremerhaven, and they separated us and sent us down by train to Kissingen, Germany, called KTC, Kissingen Basic Training Center. And that's where we went, and they assigned us to our unit. The unit that we went to was 371st, and we trained there, we pulled guard, we went to parades, and then latter part of 48, I believe it was around September, October, we went on maneuvers to a place called Grafenwehr, Germany. Okay, now the 1st Division didn't want no part of us, so what they did, they assigned us to the 2nd Constabulary. So we went on maneuvers with the 2nd Constabulary against the 1st Division. So we ended up being Constabulary, the 2nd Constab, which they call Circle C Cowboys, you know, and that's where we was at up until 1949. After training, and we spent like 9 months out of a year in the field. So we was really trained. And then I believe it was July, came down on orders going home. I said, whoa. And we got orders, come back to the States, went back to Camp Kilmer, had my 30 days at home, come back to Camp Kilmer, they loaded us up on troop trains and sent us west. And we went on to Washington State, and we caught the boat going to Japan. I believe it was the Patch. I think that's what it was. And it took us something, I forget, 20 days, 30 days or something. It took a long time to get there. We arrived in a place called Sasebo, Japan. And from there, the trucks picked us up and took us to our home station, a place called Gifu, Japan. That's where the 24th Infantry Regiment was, and this is where we was assigned to. The group that cut off with me, we just about made up the 3rd Battalion. Now, when I say that, most of us went to the 3rd Battalion because they were sending people home. That was rotating back to the States. So we filled in. And I ended up going to L Company, 3rd Battalion, 1st Platoon.
Can you tell me what that moment was like when you guys sort of discovered or found out, like, we're going to war?
Okay. It was on the weekend. I believe it was a Saturday, Sunday. We was at the club, because that's where we would go, you know. This is where all the troops would be. Just sitting around, listening to music. And somebody came in, they turned the music off, and they made the announcement. North Korea just invaded South Korea. You know, we all sitting there, you know. North Korea invaded South Korea, who the hell is that? You know, where's that at, you know, so that's what happened there. As we went on, then we learned that the 24th Division, which was all white, no blacks in it, was having Operation Smith, advanced party. Operation Smith now, this was the latter part of June of 50. And they sent them to Korea. You know, we heard this, we heard it. They bring it up, they preach it to us. Okay, it was Operation Smith. And, you know, that's those white guys, all right. Latter part of June 1950, we was alerted. We started getting new equipment in and blah, blah, blah. As you know, we had stuff from World War II. We had our weapons pitted. We was trying to get new weapons all the time. But all of a sudden, new stuff coming in like dropping out the air. I landed in Busan, the 13th day of July. That's the 3rd Battalion. The 1st Battalion may have come before us or after, I don't remember. But I remember the 3rd Battalion, we landed 13th day of July. And we moved from the boat to a train. They loaded us all up on trains, And we rode that train like 4 hours, I think. And you could see the other trains coming in loaded with people, you know, Koreans. And we rode that train for, I guess, about 4 hours, maybe longer. And when we got off, we loaded on the trucks. And we must have rode those trucks for about an hour to assembly area. And we spent the night. Later that morning, we was alerted, my platoon sergeant and squad leaders, they all went up to the company command to get some information. They brought it back to us and they said, we jump off tomorrow morning at 4 o'clock. We're gonna go retake the town of Yushan. The North Koreans had pushed out the South Koreans and we need that junction. So that morning, we was loading up, got ammunition, grenades, everybody loaded up, made sure the equipment, they had the equipment, and we jumped off around 6 o'clock that morning. What happened first is the 159 Field Artillery sent up a barrage fire, okay? And after they lifted the fire, we started moving towards Yushan.
Now I have to ask, how are you feeling at this moment? You've landed in Korea, you have been hustled aboard a train, you don't know where you're going in a sense.
No, I don't know where we're going.
Right, and then you get on this truck and you go to this area and all of a sudden it probably dawns on you pretty quick, like we're in it.
Yep. Well, you know, you had all your friends around you and everybody there, you know. I'm not going to say, man, you know, I'm a little scared. No, I was scared. Hey, listen, I'll tell you anybody, I was scared, but I wasn't going to let them know it. And I guess they were scared, but they weren't going to let me know it either, you know. So we all leaned together and we moved out, you know. We took that town 16 hours of fighting, okay? And I don't think we lost that many men, because L Company was the point when we went into Yushan, okay? And I know the first round that was fired, I was the point man in the 1st platoon under Lieutenant Dillard. He was our platoon leader, you know? And like I mentioned about the 159 Field Artillery, they was the best. They was the best. It's the only unit that never lost a weapon. They was assigned to the 24th. Never lost a gun in Korea.
Do you remember your specific like baptism by fire moment where you sort of said, hey, there's people shooting back at us?
Yeah, that's when we first went into Yushan. As we moved in, they started firing on us, and we all hit the ground. And then I remember Sergeant Vyman said, okay, let's fire back, don't lay there. And we started shooting back, and he said, next thing you hear him said, get up, let's go move, let's move. And we started moving forward and hitting the ground, shooting, and they was firing back. Then our weapons got in position, the machine guns, and they start opening up in the AR, and we moved forward. And the 2nd platoon and 3rd platoon started moving in. So we, kind of circle them, and 16 hours later, we head to town.
As you progress through different towns and you face the enemy, did you guys become more hardened? Did you become better at your job?
When you're in combat, you become good in your job or dead in your job. You pay attention, you listen to your NCOs and your squad leaders, and you do what you're told to do, okay? You pay attention. Sure, we're aggressive. When many of times we took the objective, okay? Yeah, you get hard. You get hard. I mean, you ever heard the word attack? When you go in the attack, you don't take no prisoners. You don't have time to take prisoners. You're killing everything in the front of you, or vice versa. You don't have time to take prisoners, okay? And because you're moving, you have an objective to take, and that is your main goal, nothing else, to take that objective. And you want to take that objective Sometime we got halfway there and they pushed us back, or we had to regroup and go again. For instance, in Battle Mountain, we took that son of a gun 19 times in 30 days. 19 times in 30 days. We would take it, they'd push us off. We would take it, they would pull us off. And you know, we'd taken them out and they're pulling us off. Why are they pulling us off? We took that sucker 19 times in 30 days. At the end of the 30th day, we had that mountain. We had that. And we moved on from there.
Can you tell me about the time you were wounded and as much detail as you care to share about that?
1951. We had crossed the Han in March, and we moving up, and we got orders, came down from division to regiment that the 24th, they wanted us to cross the Han River, and what they did was they said they're going to let the enemy know that that you're going to cross. So what they wanted the enemy to pull all their troops from north to south where we're going to cross at, because they wanted the 27th Regiment and the 35th to cross so we could surround them. Got the boats that morning about 5 o'clock. The artillery opened up and we started across the Han. And got on the other side. We was moving up the burn. The AR man, the BAR man, automatic rifle, he got hit and he fell. I picked up his AR and kept going, and on some way, somehow, I think I got hit by a strap that knocked me back off the and down into the river, you know. When the aid men picked me up, you know, that was how I received my Purple Heart.
And was that the end of your combat in Korea?
That was the end of my combats, you know.
What are you most proud of from your military service?
Two things I'm proud of. One is I served in the 24th, became a man, became a soldier, a good soldier. The second that I'm most proud of, because I was in the military, I met my wife. 68 years ago. So that's how long we've been together, and she had to put up with me. I was close to being an alcoholic. She straightened me out, you know. So that's what I'm proud of.
What does it mean to have your story preserved for future generations?
Number one, it's not black history. It's American history. And this is what they cover. We have to get the young generation to know. They have to know what the black troops did.